in hindsight, I probably should be like properly preparing for these interviews and having topics and stuff and not recording from a freaking basement. But like, c'est la vie. Necesitamos recordar cuando estuvimos aquí en el pasamiento. I don't even know if that's the right word. But yeah. We have to remember what it was like to freaking be here and do all this nonsense so that when we hit these upgrades, we'll be grateful and stuff. And we'll be able to laugh on all the stupidness that happened. Because life is about to get very hectic. And I'm thankful that I didn't get none of this hecticness earlier, because it would have freaking folded. Welcome, people. How do y'all do? I'm going to try Clubhouse tonight. I'm going to be home all day. I'm not going to be kicking nobody in the face. I'm trying to be a nice American, though. I'm trying to be a nice American again. Speaking of, sir, when the heck are you coming to the live? I'm waiting for this episode. I'm just in here, so there can be people here before Morgan is in here. And she's going to be in here in like 5 minutes anyway, so it works out. Yo. What have I done to deserve a yo? You got a fire question or something, fam? Who, me? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Who else is in here? Anybody else in this live want to come to the live? Y'all want to join the live and talk about things? You're not ready. You're not ready for these bars. Trackhead Bree decided to come to the live. No, she decided to forego the live completely and come to the podcast, which, whew, that's scary. Because she is in J2's comment section talking about threesomes. Like, I don't read comments. And the heck? Oh, God, that's not good. But, yeah, so, yeah, we're gonna ask Trackhead Bree about threesomes next week. And we'll see how that goes. Gotta meditate and replenish the body, mind, and soul this morning. These are facts. Who did that? Trackhead Bree did it. Trackhead Bree was all up in J2's comment sections talking about threesomes. Because, like, J2 made a joke. He was like, you know how I know that I don't have poor skills in the department of satisfying women? He was like, because none of my girlfriends ever asked me for a threesome. And so some of the comments were like, yeah, bro, like, they were like, yeah, bro, same for me, man. Like, they just don't want to share me. And then girls are like, heck no, I'm not sharing my man. But then some others were like, he needs a little bit of help. So then Trackhead Bree comes out of nowhere, and she's like, I mean, what if the girl is bisexual and it's a win-win for everybody? I'm like, huh, good question. And, like, there's a lot of bisexual nerds that have girls. Because, of course, they're freaking are. And so, because I've thought back to pieces of my life and realized, snap, that option presents itself. I know you was in those comments. That's why I said it. And so now I'm curious. I don't know. Because, again, luckily, there's parts of existence that I just don't be having. And I couldn't picture, like, when does a threesome freaking end? When do you decide, okay, that's enough. We're going to sleep now. Like, what? Is that what people do? People ravenously howl for freaking hours and writhe in pain and joy and stuff. And then they're what? I don't know how that ends. I don't know what is the end point. It doesn't make sense to me. When they tire out, it's okay. So it's like a fight. It's like, all right, dog, you got this. What if both people ain't so people are generally tired at the same time? Is what you telling me? Or is this why people be doing all that extra stuff so they can make people tired so they can get some rest? You telling me I'm choking people out so I can get to rest? It's a submission? That's what you telling me. You telling me this is just a long game of jujitsu, where if I choke this human out, they done and I win. That's how this works. Welcome, Juicelyn. I'm sorry for what you hear, but these questions needed to be asked. Finally goes live on a weekend when we're all free. Well, yeah, I can't post for the next week because my hashtags don't work anymore. And Instagram wants the Explore page to find me. Instagram is like, they don't let hashtags work no more. So, like, if I want to post something, it goes straight to the Explore page. So I'm just start posting people wearing clothes again. choking. Okay, yes, because this is the freaking problem. I wasn't even piping this. I was legit like barely freaking nuzzling this human's neck, and she was like choking him. I was like, okay, and so I hit her with Darth Vader, and I went, and she was like, no. and so she was like, you went for the trachea, you gotta go for the carotid. And I'm thinking of a carotid as something that you slice. I'm not thinking of it as something that you press, because it's like on the side of the neck. And I'm like, if I'm pressing the sides of your neck, then why the heck would you like be choking when your whole trachea is just right here? And she's like, no, it feels better because you can breathe, you just can't breathe a lot. And I'm this freaking psychopath. So I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'm now scared. She's like, harder. And I'm like, why? I don't get it. It's freaking confusing. How, like, do you want to be on the brink of death that bad? You couldn't find a roller coaster. You couldn't watch a scary movie. You want me to almost murder you so you can be happy. That doesn't make sense. It's the blood flow restriction. That's supposed to be pleasurable. Never in life have I been lightheaded and after training and being like, yeah, I freaking love being lightheaded because I can't see nothing. I can't do nothing. It's not like when you like hold your breath for a long time and then finally exhale. Like that would probably be fire. But just like freaking being actively choked for like a minute straight. Most people can't even hold their breath for a freaking minute. Oh. Welcome.
Hey,
Um, just a friendly conversation between friends about choking. How are you doing this wonderful morning?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm alright. I went to New York yesterday. I was training with these stunt people because when I did Power Rangers, they like told me that I should be like taking stuntman classes and stuff. So I went to the class and there was this dude that's legit like a whole ninja. Like this man is like trained in Japanese swordsmanship. He can do like pop locking and stuff. And so he's showing us how to fall. And being a martial artist, being a stuntman is the complete opposite of it. So like if you're supposed to like punch somebody in the face and like hook them really good, in martial arts, in a stunt, you would just kind of wave your arm dramatically across their face. And so it was hard, but it was enjoyable. Now I'm a little sore, but I have energy, so that's good.
Oh, it sounds interesting.
Yeah,
So,
it definitely is. Life is about like finding cool stuff to do and then making it possible for cool things to be done. What cool stuff have you done as the year begins?
as the year begins, I've actually gotten some new art opportunities, so that was different from I started working with an agency, and so now I am working with some major publications to create some artwork for a bigger company. So it's been a learning experience, but it's been fun.
That's dope. What's it like being an artist with an agency?
Um, I haven't done it for long, but so far it's pretty good. I have some to communicate back and forth with like these big companies. They can kind of help you along and some of the basics for how to communicate with some of these businesses and how to conduct yourself and what to ask and stuff like that. So you know, I really liked it so far. I've learned a lot of things, and I feel like I'll be able to even become a better artist over time, you know, with the help that I have with them.
Oh, indeed. And you showing people it's possible not only to get a bag as an artist, but also to operate in like the corporate realm and not have to hustle as much.
Yeah, so that's always something that I've kind of wanted to do. And at first, I think myself, I didn't really know if that was going to be possible because it is kind of difficult, especially when you're first breaking in, to be able to find a decent art job, or to be able to find consistent commission work. But with this is a huge help. It's people that value you as an artist. You get clients that value your work. They don't try to downplay you like a lot of people will sometimes do. Sometimes people, they don't really see art as something worth paying for. So it's honestly really refreshing, and I think it's kind of encouraging to myself and other people out there to know that there are people that are willing to support you, to pay for your work, and to help you go along and to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's freaking tight. And I'm seeing it now, like there's an artist, Jasmina. I think it's like with a V or something. And she's doing stuff for Adult Swim. And I have friends that are now doing stuff for like Disney and Sony and stuff. And it's cool that the internet has allowed us to do that. What do you think is like the art piece or the point in time where you started getting more traction?
Honestly, I think when I started doing some of these little screen craft redraws like Sailor Moon, I think that's when it started kind of take off. That's when I noticed my following started to grow, when people started, asking me for more commission work. And then from there, as I started, growing as an artist and, drawing more things of that nature, I started to get noticed by like bigger people. And some of those things are actually what got me noticed by the agency.
Hey. And what you think made you want to start doing like the screen cap stuff?
I actually got inspired to do it by AZ Barbie. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen some of her work before, but she's been doing like these little redraws where she'll do like Sailor Moon and some of the other cast members and stuff, and she'll do them as like black characters. I don't know if I've seen her do it so often lately, but I remember like a couple of years back when I kind of started getting into the whole social media art thing. I saw some of those, and um, I kind of got inspired to do my own based on that. And of course, there was a couple of other artists that were kind of doing similar things. And I think that was always kind of inspiring for me. So I was like, well, let me try to do my own take on it because, this seems like fun. Like, it's kind of a interesting project to see how you can take this anime character and make him look black, but then still make him like a character.
What do you think a lot of people are missing in making black anime characters? Specifically people that aren't black or people that make actual anime?
For one, we don't have a lot of us. Um, and two, from what I've seen a lot is that the features aren't necessarily drawn how, they should be drawn. Either they, kind of just look like everybody else in the show, or, they look a little bad, like Mr. Popo bad.
Would you say Mr. Popo is the, cuz I mean, he's more Indian. He's not like Oob is, well, Oob is
Well, yeah.
Indian too. What you think Oob is?
I always thought he was Indian. That's what I always took him as.
Why? Cuz he comes from a village with no water?
Well, not necessarily. I always they were going for. I mean, I know some of these characters aren't necessarily meant to be black, but I'm sure you've seen like they had black characters in older series where they'd have like big hot dog lips and dinner plate eyes, and that's not really something that's a proper representation of our features. Um, and so we've kind of been seeing things done a little better in recent years, but overall, what we had always kind of seen is, minstrel show type things, or, we haven't really seen us at all.
Yeah, we did get a lot of sambos early on. Even like I got really into Alita, like Battle Angel Alita some time ago. And I was reading the manga, and the manga has some of the craziest art and backgrounds and like dynamism that I've ever seen in like anything that I've read before. And so I get to like the end of it, and this black dude pops up, and this man's like his lips legit went down to his jaw.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
And I was like, oh, we have to fix that. But luckily, you look at Fire Force, you look at Hunter x Hunter. Um, a lot of shows now, I think they're finally realizing that these brown characters they've been drawing come from places. And so, like, even in The Great Pretender, Abigail isn't black; she's from Iraq, but like she's from somewhere now. Whereas previously, they just be like irrationally dark-skinned Japanese people.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm glad that, they're saying, like, what you're saying. They kind of are pulling from real world locations and are doing like real research. Like, you see Canary from Hunter x Hunter. You even see Dorothy from Great Protector. She has, you know, more reasonable features. Like characters in Michiko and Hachin, you see black characters that actually look like black people and, you know, don't look a mess. So I think that we're doing a little better.
You've seen Michiko Tohashi.
Yes, I have.
When?
When was this? I saw that. I think I was in college when I saw this. So it's been like 2010.
Oh, was it like done?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. What was your feeling when you saw like the first? Well, not the first episode, the second episode. Well, I don't know. What did you think about it when you first saw it?
I liked it. It kind of had some weird things like her being an ex-con type of deal, but I honestly I really liked it. I liked the settings. I liked how they did a lot of black characters and they did them right. They showed a lot of diversity in it. It was just something very different. It was refreshing. So I really enjoyed it. It honestly was one of my favorite anime that I've seen, and I've actually watched it several times.
Yeah, there was like when I first saw it, I realized it was going to end. I was like, oh, so I stopped watching it because I didn't want to like. I hate that feeling you get when you get to the end of a show and it's like, what the heck do I do with my life now?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of sad that there wasn't more of it, but I think it ended on a good note. And I think it is better for it to end than it to drag on forever and ever and ever and
Like
eventually
what?
start.
What drags on forever and ever and ever?
Answer that question.
you're in, you're in the presence of friends.
I don't want the friends to become enemies.
One might say that you would like peace. I understand. I understand completely. It would be a grand line of me to assume that you were speaking of a specific show. Hey, Cold Indulgent Revenge, much love. Um, but yeah, you're right. A good story should end. Do you make stories, or do you like have story concepts that you want to make stuff out of?
I have some things that I've kind of been thinking on, kind of dabbling in. I'm personally not much of a writer. I'm a better illustrator than I am an author. So, those kind of things that I kind of want to maybe run by some other people, kind of work on and take enough time to work on so that, it isn't really sloppy when it comes out. Because I've always kind of valued really good writing. Like watching series, that's something that I probably appreciate more than anything. I like if the story is cohesive and, it has good overarching themes and things like that. That's something that I've always really liked, watching anything. Um, so that's always something that I kind of wanted to kind of work on. If I am to release something, I don't want it to just kind of be whatever. So I do want to kind of sit on it for a bit and see what I can come up with.
What are some shows that you've seen and been like, yo, the writing on this, or some movies where you've been like, this all makes sense and there's no plot holes and it's actually enjoyable?
Well, Michiko and Hachin was honestly one of them. Is why it was one of my favorites. Cowboy Bebop. I really enjoyed that one. Um, Samurai Champloo. I feel like I'm naming all the quintessential black anime, but those
Samurai
are some.
Champloo is black.
Well, I mean, it's got a lot of black influence in it.
It has our culture. It's not
Yeah.
appropriation.
I mean, I guess that's debatable,
I don't.
but I thought it was a good story.
I love Samurai Champloo. It's my favorite anime. It's not. It's not appropriation because Japanese culture and African American culture have a lot of similarities. Specifically, like old school Japanese culture and the way that they operated is very similar to the ways that we operate, just under a different system of rule. It's an interesting parallel throughout history that we see.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. Never really thought about it that way before.
It's a lot. It's a long explanation, but luckily a lot of people have been having it now because like there's a an undeniable reason why when a lot of Asian media started coming over to America, a lot of black people felt like they were being represented despite the fact that they weren't in it. And that mostly stems from the fact that this was a character who was not white, that was generally standing up for their people or standing up against white people and winning. And even when a black person would like win in a movie, they were generally either fighting another black person or they were a criminal generally, especially like in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I can see that. Um, and I can, kind of especially see how it all kind of influenced a lot of things that were put out then. You kind of look at black exploitation films from that era, and it had a lot of Asian culture mixed into it. So that's, an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, but at the same like we I don't know. Do you think there's like an African American culture that exists that's like autonomous?
Um, I don't know. I think that's kind of a hard question to ask because I don't necessarily know if there's a solid answer to that. In my opinion, I would say yes. I mean, we have a lot of things that we kind of came up with that are, that they're just kind of unique to us. You don't really see it outside of other places, unless they're being influenced by us through the media. Like you kind of like certain fashion trends that we have, African American vernacular English, things like that. I feel like those sort of things, they're more unique to us than they are to any other, groups of people. And I think the only times that we see other groups use them or have some sort of influence is because they might have seen us on the media or, on some TV show or whatever, and they get inspired by that.
Wow. I think you're absolutely freaking right. And as we're in this, yeah, I choked up a little bit because we're getting a lot of adaptations right now and a lot of representation in media right now, and people are attempting to make a lot of media for us. But I'm not sure if it's the media itself or if it's the return from the media. Because, like, for example, what do you think have been like of the decade, like last decade, the five like black properties that had the most impact?
The 5 black properties that
Yeah,
had the most
be them
impact.
black owned or just black represented.
Huh. Well, I'm not sure if I actually know 5 of them.
Five is a lot, but like a couple, the ones that come to your mind first.
Well, I know probably something that I was more like focused on in maybe like the past couple years or so would be what's that LaShawn Thomas work, Cannon Busters.
Yes.
Um, I think that that was a good push in, going forward with black media, especially for something like anime related. Um, and it kind of, it was different because I don't think that we've ever really had many other black people that kind of went forward with something like that. I felt like that was pretty ambitious. Um, and he also did Children of Ether. I know that was another one.
Look at you! It was about children. I would high five you, but this is in the digital. But respect! Yep, that fight scene in the train, not enough people know it exists.
That was it was too good. I'm like, I need more.
Yes! Crunchyroll, like the craziest thing is Crunchyroll is literally $1 billion company at this point. They could make anime, and they're supposedly making anime, but they don't make episodes of things. They give us these amazing shorts, and then we never like they did this thing like that was called Black Cat, and there was like this little ninja girl, and she was like fighting this dude. And it was great, and I was interested in the plot because the dude that she was fighting with, her granddad, he was wearing a mask, and it was beautiful, and it never came out.
Yeah, that was a little disheartening.
Yeah.
But I appreciate what we got.
Indeed. Like, LaShawn Thomas has done enough. Like, LaShawn Thomas is the dude that made the Boondocks look like anime. Like, the way that it looks in, like, the animated series, and especially, like, seasons 2 and 3, where the art got way better. That was all LaShawn Thomas is doing. He did a lot of work on, like, Legend of Korra and a bunch of WB stuff and stuff. So, like, his legacy already is, like, already up there with Dwayne McDuffie. He's, like, the Dwayne McDuffie of black anime in terms of being the reason that a lot of anime-style animation even exists in America and is at the quality that it is.
Yeah, that's true. Because I've seen kind of his body of work and how he's worked on a good little bit of things. Those are probably, Cannon Busters and Children of Ether are probably like the two, like his two standout things of, his little solo things. Then we had, what is that? It's Animation Studio.
Dayart Shitagia.
That's the one. Yeah, I've been following them for a little while too, and I thought that was really cool. I've seen that they've done some animation work on a couple of different series. I think they did some work for One Piece and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So I thought that was really cool to see. It's different to see us. It's almost like unreal to kind of see us in these kind of fields of animation and working on these things. And it's especially interesting because like I was saying before, like I was naming all of these black. It seems like a lot of anime and things in Eastern media, they had kind of taken inspiration from our culture. So it's just kind of interesting to finally kind of see us actually being more integrated in it and more a part of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see. Even like in Carol and Tuesday, where they got actual like singers and like Denzel Curry was in it. And that
really?
connection, because there's so many, which again frustrates me. Like, we have all these creative millionaires running around not making anime, but they like anime, and then they get sponsored by anime companies to like make content. For example, Meg Thee Stallion should have had an anime 2 years ago. But she been in talks with freaking Crunchyroll for like 3 years. And yet for some reason, this human buys tens of thousands of dollars in jewelry, maybe hundreds of thousands by this point, because people be playing the mess out of her songs online. But alas, no animation. What do you think it'll take for people to realize, especially like wealthy weebs, to realize they're capable of creating things with artists?
Yeah, it would be nice to see more, but I guess we're just getting started. I mean, guess it's baby steps, I guess.
This is true, and it's good. Like, Dayart Shitagia is a really interesting case study because they've been around for like 8, maybe 6 or 7, possibly 8 years now. Because did you see the Narcissus Primus 7 animation where it was like the dude with the locks and then the dude with the fade, and they were like fighting each other in a church, and they went to the forest and there was like lightning and power beams all over the place?
Yeah, I think I have seen that.
That was animated by Dayart Shitagia. And Teflon Funk, which was like, it was the one with the dude that had the afro and the glasses. They did an animation for him as well. So they've been around for a second doing things, but only recently over the past 3 years have they started hitting a lot of these big projects. And I think the more big projects they get, the more they as a studio internally will make things because they'll have the money for it and they'll also have the audience for it, in the same way that like when you look at Studio Bones was a bunch of people from Studio Madhouse. Studio Madhouse is the people that made Cowboy Bebop. Cowboy Bebop was an original anime, and Cowboy Bebop wouldn't exist if the dude Shinichiro Watanabe didn't already work on stuff in the 90s. So it all comes around. Because Gainax, like Studio Gainax did Evangelion, and then after Gainax, then there was Madhouse, and a lot of the Madhouse people went to Gainax, and that's where they started making all that original stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So like that's generally what happens, I guess, in anime studios is people get good at stuff and they also get a name, which means they also get investors, and they use those investors to create original properties. But yeah, the animation is expensive. Being an animator now, I know animation is expensive, and so they have to make sure that foundation is set. And I think that foundation is setting, and we'll see some cool stuff come out of it. Hopefully next year, definitely in the next 5 years.
Yeah, here's hoping.
What do you want to see?
As far as animation going forward?
Stories, period. Because, like, you mentioning that Michiko is an ex-con didn't seem like you wanted Michiko to be an ex-con. So, what would you want to see?
I think I would want to see things that get away from things. And I know that she wasn't necessarily a criminal or anything, because according to the story, she was framed and whatever. But it just was, kind of interesting that they picked that particular backstory for her. And I think I would like to see things more around the lines of, black people just being black people and being normal and, just living their lives and not going to jail and, things around that kind of nature. Like, I'd like to see, more things like Adorned by Chi, like, Black Magical Girls, just more positive things. And, like I was saying, I think that lately we've been seeing things kind of going more in a positive direction. The way that they kind of portray black people in, anime and different media, it's been getting better. There's still going to be some issues, but it's been improving. But I would like to see, like more just people just being people.
Huh.
Being people.
Yeah. Are there slice of life shows that you like really like? Because I don't know how, like, I like action too much. So I don't really I don't know how to like tell stories about peace. Because I'm writing a story right now that's like more positive, and I'm stuck writing it because I can't do horrible things to the characters. So I don't know what to do.
In all honesty, I don't really know of too many slice of life shows, because I think the ones that I've seen, they've all been more either action oriented or, magical or fantasy, or it's always been, some kind of something going on. But I just kind of mean as far as people just being normal, like characters being more humanized and, not being just boiled down to just a trope or a stereotype. Because, I would like to see like more personalities, more stories that aren't just the same things and the same drama going round and round. And just like more positive characters for the most part, if that makes sense.
No, I feel you. Not perpetuating negative stereotypes and contributing to misinformation that causes more discourse. Because our community is amazing, but sometimes the things that divide us can stop a lot of progress from happening and stop a lot of cool projects from happening in the future as well.
Yeah.
Think of horrible things as lessons and guidance toward a greater form of joy in their life. The horrible things are teachers that can provide insight that an all happy life couldn't. Wow, very accurate.
Yeah.
While very accurate, like there's levels to this horribleness. So like if a character like I feel like in shonen, for example, if you're not being traumatized or like training really hard, you don't grow as a character. But in life, you can learn minute, subtle lessons, and those can change your entire life. And I don't know how to depict learning those minute, subtle lessons without allegory in a story. Like, how do you how would you there we are. How would you develop a real life character, like a more real life-ish character? How do you have character development for people that are like not fighting demons?
I mean, I personally would probably look at some real world people and kind of pull inspiration from that because I feel like looking at real people's experiences and hearing real people's stories that can give you like a more grounded perspective on how to write people without them training and being traumatized, losing their whole clan or whatever. But when you look at like real life situations, real people, they might learn some lesson because they talked to somebody or something, and this person was going through something, and then they realize, oh, I need to be more grateful because so and so is going through this, whatever. Just I guess kind of looking at how things like go in real life, or maybe even examining how things go in your life. Um, you can probably look at how to, properly write stories that sound realistic and that will serve as a way to teach the characters or serve as a teaching or growth moment for whatever you're writing.
Who are your elders? You know
Who
things.
are, who are my elders?
Yes. You can't be talking like this and not having elders.
My elders. I don't know. Parents, my grandparents. I don't know.
That's hold up. You had like actual conversations with your grandparents?
Wait, you're asking if I had conversations with my grandparents?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of things people don't know about me. What is that like? Like, what do y'all talk about?
Um. Well, when I would speak to my grandparents, they usually would tell me things about their life experiences. They would tell me things like, things that I should do, try to give me good life advice. Um, Sometimes they would tell me how things went, back in the day during, like the 50s, 60s, when they were growing up, which was very interesting. Um, but uh, we kind of just had like conversations just about life. Um, Now, I don't really have many grandparents anymore, so can't really hold many more conversations. But um, that's about how it was. You know, they would just try to kind of teach me certain things, so stuff like that.
Wow, you had conversations with your grandpa. Yeah, that's a freaking blessing. Like, cause yeah, I grossly
Yeah, I
underutilized my time with my grandparents, and so like I had to experience a lot of craziness to know the stuff that I know now. So being able to get it from the source and not have to like undergo freaking tribulations and quests and side missions in order to like get this wisdom, that's a freaking blessing, yo.
it really is. I agree with that.
Wow.
I hope my answer didn't come off wrong. I didn't want to make any kind of assumptions, so
You good again. Like this is the Juaso life. You can speak freely. I don't get triggered by anything. Well, aside from Nigerian girls, but that's conversation for another day. Um,
I,
that's That's the story for the podcast. I'm not gonna tell that one now. But snap. There. See, then I just flashback like yeah, and then I have to remember what the heck I was gonna say. Okay, there we are. Those are the things. Snap. Dang, no, I'm still stuck. My brain is my brain. All right. Snap. Wisdom. There we are. Okay. Cool. When you are conceptualizing a piece, when you're thinking about either what you're going to draw or like how you're going to draw it, do you do what you feel or do you walk in with a plan or an experiment that you want to have?
Sometimes it can be either. Sometimes I might have plans of certain things. Just certain concepts might just come to me, and then I might just try to execute it to the best of my ability. And sometimes I kind of just feel like drawing, so I might just start doodling and see what kind of comes out of it. Um, Other times, I kind of want to draw, but I don't know what to draw. Um, and I can't really think of anything. So I kind of gravitate towards studies, like the little hair studies I've been doing recently. I kind of just use that as a way to kind of get me back into, just kind of drawing things freely and just kind of for fun.
People sleep on studies so hard. I think if you haven't gone to like if you haven't had a formal education in art or if you haven't like had people to tell you to practice stuff, then you don't understand the point of a study. What is it about when did you realize that when did studies get fun? There we go. Was it always fun for you or was it like annoying at first?
Well, I went to art school, so it was annoying at first. I didn't really want to do it. I didn't want to, draw figures and stuff like that all the time. Didn't want to do the little master studies that they had us do in class. But I think it started getting fun when I started getting older, and when I started kind of just wanting to take some time to improve on things or to experiment with different things. And it would always be things that I wanted. Like, in school we would do like, redraw like Leonardo da Vinci drawings, and that wasn't necessarily exciting to me. But now I kind of try to draw a lot of, more African centric stuff, or, stuff that reflects us, like our culture and our looks and things like that. So when I'm kind of studying things, I like to kind of go in that direction. Like I like to do a lot of natural hair. I like to do like African type features. I like darker skin colors, and that was always kind of even something that I don't think we touched on a lot when it came to color was experimenting with darker skin color. So that's always been, kind of fun now because it's something that I really want to do. So it's fun to be able to actually go into it and, learn more and, you know, get some experience in something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, it's it's huge, and also I think because of this new era we have of like mass availability to digital art, we're seeing a lot of new education and techniques being employed and standardized by our community. So like we have people like you and people like White Manga and people like Nicholas Jafarivi who have been pushing the boundaries of what's possible of depicting black art in shapes. Because what people that don't draw don't understand is how important shapes are and how a line can communicate everything.
Yeah, that's very true. Um, and that's actually another thing that they kind of taught us at school. They taught us to kind of break things down, and that's a huge help.
Yes, because now like there are times where like because of gesture, it brings me more joy to get a proper gesture like stick figure than to do like a crazy anime piece with boobs all over the
Yeah,
place. Because you get that nice line of action and like the arm is stretched out while the ankle is also turned and then you twist the muscles because you know how muscles move depending on how people are positioned. Like that's way more interesting to me than freaking opie, but like people don't freaking know that aren't artists, and so and that's how do you balance you being an artist and wanting to create art and work that you enjoy and love, and people wanting products from you?
Let's see. People wanting products from it. Well, as far as like, kind of doing things to, I guess, make products out of it, I never really tried to initially do that myself. It just kind of happened. But it is something that I really like. I like that people, like the stuff that I draw, and they want to see it on shirts and prints and things like that. Um, but I, I guess I would just say, you know, I like being able to do it. I like that I'm able to do it. But it never was necessarily something that I was trying to pursue in the beginning. It just kind of happened like that, I guess.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's how the best things happen. The best things come from you doing what you want, people seeing it, and then being like, yo, I want to buy that thing that already exists, or that thing that was inspired by the thing that I previously enjoyed. Because it makes your life easier because the market is already there. You get just giving people stuff that you wanted to make, and now they want, and you already made it. You ain't got to make nothing new for them. Whereas a lot of us, like, we'll try to make art for people that don't exist, and then create those people into existing so they can buy the art. And that doesn't really work. Like, it doesn't generally work out the way that we often think that it is. So the way that you're going about it is healthier, number one, and it's more sustainable, number two. Because I imagine creating work that you enjoy and then giving it to the people instead of the opposite stops you from burning out as much. And because your healing also happens to be in art, you get the added benefit of healing and sustaining your audience with your healing yourself, which is it's like them plants that feed themselves and they just keep cycling the water, and so you ain't gotta cycle it.
That's a good way to look at it.
So yeah, it's freaking dope. I don't really have any more like questions or whatever. Dang, because you know things, which works because like you speak in these sentences that are like bold lines, and so there's not no in between space, which is perfect because if there's a question, you can get it at you have there's lines I've had to delete because people would rant 5 hours freaking straight about things that couldn't be used or about the color of blue and the different colors of blue. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Thank you for coming. Is there anything you want to say to the people? I'm not sure if you've done a lot of lives and stuff. Is there something you want to say to like your people or like the younger version of yourself or like the people that enjoy your stuff that might not know anything, might not know something about you that you want them to know?
Um, I really don't have any, I guess, general thing I can really say about myself. So I don't know if I necessarily have anything to say, but I would like to thank everybody for, for tuning in to watch and hear what I kind of had to say. I appreciate it. Um, I will say that if there are any artists who kind of maybe have any questions for me personally, you're free to ask. You can always shoot me a DM or whatever. I kind of answer whatever I can and help in ways that I can. I've had some people, questions like, "Oh, how do you make stickers and how you package or how you do whatever?" And that's all stuff that I'm kind of open to answer. So just putting that out there.
Excellent.
But general statement about myself, I don't really have one.
I gotta ask you a question anyway before we get the heck out of there. Little Morgan, I was running around wherever the heck it's central to, I don't know, maybe Arizona or Texas or something. I don't know where the heck Central Time is. Where is Central Time? Where is that located?
Are you asking generally where Central Time is, or are you asking where I am?
Yeah, like generally worse. We don't want nobody pulling up on you, but like maybe the state over from you.
Over for me? I mean, I don't have a problem with saying that's fine. I tell a lot of people already. I'm from New Orleans.
Oh, that explains your last name.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, born and raised in New Orleans. Still living here. So.
That's dope. Did you like get to go to like the swamps and stuff?
I have, but they don't really have swamps here in the city because that's more, the outskirts, maybe like an hour or so out from here.
Oh.
Yeah, so the city is just city. It's like buildings and houses and restaurants and stuff and nightlife, whatever. We don't really have swamps and airboats and well, yeah, we do have alligators actually. I was gonna say we don't have
What?
time to time. Yeah, sometimes.
You haven't had to experience a freaking alligator, have you?
I didn't experience one, but they come out sometimes. They'll be in the parks, and if you live in a more suburban area, you're more likely to run into one.
Oh, I couldn't imagine running into a freaking alligator. Like, because even if I had my samurai sword on me, an alligator is still a freaking alligator.
Yeah, I mean, just don't go in any uninhabited areas by yourself.
These are facts, and I'm glad that there are no swamps in the freaking city, because people be going hard on Bourbon Street, and I would hate for one of those poor, drunk, naked white people running around with beads to fall into the river and get eaten by some.
Still fall in the river.
Have you ever played Mafia 3?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
It's dope. The whole thing is like it's the greatest. It's not a black video game, but the main character is a black man, and all he does is like do horrible things. But it's not like he does horrible things. Well, yes, there we are. It's about this black man that goes to war with the Italian mob, and one of the Italian mob members is a member of the Ku Klux Klan. And so what he does is they're like having like the cross burning thing, and then he infiltrates the entire, takes out everybody, and then like sets the dude on fire on the cross. It was like it's the most lethargic video game I've ever played in my life. But it's supposed to be based in New Orleans, and I guess they squashed everything together because you can't be taking hour rides in a video game. That would probably be horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for coming to the freaking live. You're dope. People already follow you. Everybody that's watching this. If you're not following freaking Morgan, last name withheld, shame on you. Go follow this human. She's great. I don't know if is your last name public? Do people already know, or like, do they got to email? Oh.
Morgan Bissant. It's on my page. Was everywhere now since I started with the agency. So.
Morgan Bissant is about to take over the freaking world, people. This human is about to. Well, I can't tell you the things that this human is going to do, but this human is about to do freaking greatness. So, thank you for coming to the live. I greatly appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate your accent.
Of course. It was fun. Have a blessed day.
All right. You too.
Peace.
All right.